tradition on every slice for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Your possibilities are endless at Doane University. Discovering your life's passion is easier with options, and that's what Doane offers students. Rooted in liberal arts, you can choose from undergraduate and graduate programs, all delivering real-world experience. At Doane, we take a personal approach to education, giving you the guidance you need to own your future. It's not just our innovative learning, it's the feeling of being surrounded by possibilities that makes you different. Apply today at doane.edu/apply.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Support Matt Talbot Kitchen and Outreach on Give to Lincoln Day. Your gift will be received by a portion of Lincoln Community Foundation's matching fund. Homelessness is a complex problem facing our community. By working together, we can find solutions. Your donation for Give to Lincoln Day moves us closer to ensuring that everyone in Lincoln has a safe place to sleep at night. Because of your generosity, hope lives here. Give anytime through May 29th at givetolincoln.com.
Jumpstart your summer to the max. Walk into any Max Tan in Lincoln and get a $5 standing tan session or a $5 red light wellness booth session. Your summer tan starts today with $5 sessions at Max Tan with 3 Lincoln locations.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome to the 2025 NSAA State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. State baseball broadcasts are powered by Game Day Men's Health, Max Tan, Doane University, Raising Canes, and the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Now, calling all the action, here's Nick Sainert and Austin Orman.
Welcome inside beautiful Tal Anderson Field on the campus of the University of Nebraska-Omaha. Third game of the day in the Class B State Baseball Tournament. I'm Austin Norman. To my left, Nick Sainert. We're with you in the Tal Anderson Field press box. Really excited for this game in Class B. It's the number 2 seed Bennington Badgers and the number 7 seed Seward Blue Jays. Both these programs successful records this year. Bennington 25-3, Seward at 15-7. Let's start with the second seeded Badgers of Bennington. Nick, a 25-3 record. They lost all 3 of their games in a 5-game span. They lost 8-5 to Elkhorn, 3-1 to Waverly, and 3-0 to Elkhorn North. That's the only time that the Badgers scored 0 or 1 runs so far this year. So what that means is if you take out those 5 games where they went just 2-3, the Badgers started the year off on a 12-game win streak. They ended the year on a 10-game win streak. Most other years, that'd be good for a 1 seed, but you saw Scott look dominant this morning in a win against Hastings. Millard North came in on a 7-game win streak in Class A, but the Bennington Badgers hold a 10-game winning streak, including a romp through districts, a 13-3 combined margin in their 2 games.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think one thing that we've learned from today, just in the Scott Catholic game, and then obviously in the exciting one that we had just a few moments ago between Waverly and Gretna East is that little things are going to matter, right? And they're magnified in the regular season, even more so on this stage. Be competitive, throw strikes, and the defense has to be able to go do work. And you might say, okay, well, how does the defense do work? By not doing anything crazy. Like at the end of the day, we should not have to talk about something that the Bennington or Seward defense did, right? In Seward's case today, obviously you're going to be undersized, right? Maybe a little more underpowered, okay? Or overpowered from Bennington. Go do your job, right? Find yourself in a one-run ball game, and you never know what can happen.
Being traditionally undermanned didn't stop Seward in the district final. In the second game of the year, Seward lost to Norris 15-5. They avenged that loss in their district final, a 6-5 win over the Titans. That Nick knocked Norris out of the state tournament for the first time since 2010. Seward is not going to walk into Tal Anderson Field scared today.
No, and you can't, right? Like we saw maybe yesterday a little bit in a couple of the Class A games. Okay, maybe some teams, not necessarily, I'm not saying they're not built for the moment,
but a little hesitant.
They're not confident, right? Seward can't have that today.
Absolutely not. Let's set the Blue Jay lineup for you. Top three will be Bryson Burt. He is today's pitcher for the Blue Jays. He leads off wearing number 3. Boston Happ, his battery mate at catcher, hits in the 2-hole. Then it's first baseman Kyle Riley hitting third. Cleanup is Kian Shadwinkle in the 5 spot. Colton Lose in the 9, or playing right field, hitting 6th. Declan Lindau hitting 7th. It's Quinn Berner, the second baseman. Hitting 8th is the center fielder Quentin Hibbert, and then DHing in 9th, it's Connor Swajan. On the mound for Bennington, they bring their ace, number 4, Jaron Utterback. On the year, a 6-1 record. Nick, an ERA of just 1.03.
Yeah, he throws from the right side, but that dominant ERA, we've seen that, right? A lot of teams obviously going with their ace in game 1. You got to win game 1, right? And that's a big reason. We're going to talk about it a lot next week with the Big Ten baseball tournament. But every single team so far going with their number 1 guy.
Utterback ready, and so are we. His first pitch is a fastball over the inside corner called strike 1. Bennington, home whites, Seward, road grays. Utterback quickly set again. This one chopped up the middle to the shortstop. Burt hustling down the line. It's thrown away. He's going to round first. He's making his way to second. Bennington's just going to put it in their back pocket. That's an E6 on the first play of the game. Bryson Burt ends up 180 feet away from home plate with a little chopper to short.
That's exactly what we just talked about, right? As a defense, we talked about it in the scope of Seward, but we can have the conversation and now centered around Bennington. You come in, you're expected to be the better team of these two. Hey, right off the bat, how do you allow Seward to stay in this game early on? How do you allow them to jump on top? You commit an error on the first opportunity of the day.
That's Hunter Spencer with the throwing error. His throw pulled first baseman Charlie Swoboda off the bag. So for Seward, here's Boston Happ. He's the catcher, another righty. Shows bunt late, takes it for a called strike, 0-1. Happ, no stats given on the year here in the program. I'm going to guess he has grabbed a bat if he's hitting second in districts, though. He's a junior doing the catching. This time he shows bunt early. First baseman creeping in. Second baseman sprints all the way to the bag. This one right back to the pitcher. Utterback won't even take a look at third. So there you go. Boston Happ does his job. That is a 1-4 put out on the bunt, 1 away, but a runner moves up to third base.
Yeah, it does the job. I never was a fan of showing so early. A lot of people would think, okay, let me go ahead and get squared around and get the angle of my bat ready to go to bunt this ball. However, it never felt natural just sitting there holding the bat with it, obviously at your angle. It never felt natural, but that time it worked out for the Seward Blue Jays.
Breaking ball in for a strike from Utterback. First one we've seen today. That's to Kyle Riley. Riley wears number 24 on the year. He's a .348 hitter. He's driven in 12 runs, gone deep once. Now he squares to bunt. Oh, and now Burt in a little bit of trouble. The catcher runs him back to third base. Good job by the third baseman of following the runner, right, Nick? That's what you're taught to do at third base. Stay even with him so that way you can pick up the ball. You're in a good position to make that throw home. I don't want to hide my feelings on this. I don't love Seward bunting its 2 and 3 hitters in the first inning.
Right.
Late innings maybe, but these are 2 of your better hitters.
They show bunt once again, but what I will also say is it's a smart decision by the guy behind the dish for the Bennington Badgers, Aiden Smith. A lot of catchers will just quickly see, oh, I got a runner on third base or somewhere that's 35 feet off the bag. Let me throw it his way. in this case, it's not doing you any favors if you did that.
Riley squares to bunt for a third time. He takes that one over the outside edge. That evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. So my guess is the bunt sign comes off now with 2 strikes. If it doesn't, got to be sure to get it down. You bunt foul, you're out. Riley, right-handed batter, slightly open stance. Low hands, bat waggle. He is swinging away. He's swinging and missing. He Ks for out number 2 of the inning. So now Jaron Utterback just 1 out away from stranding the leadoff error at third base.
When we saw earlier in the day with Scott Catholic and Hastings had a chance to jump on the number 1 seed Scott with help with some errors, a couple of base hits, unable to do so, and ended up hurting the Hastings Tigers. Now Bennington, if they're able to get out of this, has quite a bit of momentum.
Utterback brings it home to Kian Shadwinkle. He's a sophomore, 344 hitter, 21 hits and 61 tries. He's driven in 8 runs. Number 9 would give his team an early lead here in the first inning of this first round game at the state tournament. Utterback, high kick, he delivers. Shadwinkle swings, fouls that one off over the right side. He's now down quickly, 0-2. All righties so far for Seward in the top half of their lineup against Utterback. He's set at his letters. Now Shadwinkle calls time. Down 0-2. If you're Shadwinkle, you're trying to extend the at-bat. If you're Utterback, you're trying to put him away right here and now. Utterback brings home the breaking ball just off the outside edge. That's a really good spot for that at 0-2, Nick.
Yeah, right. Good miss. And that's a lot of it is especially to a cleanup guy like Shadwinkle. You don't want to leave something over the heart. 0-2, let a waste pitch go by.
Will he go back and double down on the breaking ball? Does he bring the fastball? We'll see here from Utterback. Same spot. He did go with the fastball that time, missed in a very similar location, 2-2. That's, Nick, how you can tell, too. The pitcher is hitting his spots right in the high school game. You can afford to miss off the plate a little bit. If you miss, you might get the call. If not, no harm, no foul. You put in a spot that's hard to hit. Utterback brings that one over the inside edge. It's flared out to short. This time, the shortstop makes the play. That's Hunter Spencer redeeming his error from the first batter of the game. He goes 6-3 to retire Kian Shadwinkle. That is no runs on no hits, 1 runner left on third base on the air. We'll head to the bottom of the first inning. It'll be Schumann, Spencer, and Smith for Bennington against Seward ace Bryson Burt in the bottom of the first. After this on the ticket.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Seward strands a runner at third base in the top of the first inning. Let's give you the Bennington Badger lineup. Leading off, it'll be left fielder Morgan Schumann. He's followed up by shortstop Hunter Spence and catcher Aiden Smith. Batting cleanup for the Badgers, Charlie Swoboda. He is the first baseman today. In the 5-hole, it's Kellen Molnaric. He is today's designated hitter. Lane Bover bats sixth. He'll play third base today for Bennington. Then it's Jack Essink at second base, Jace Fitzgerald in right field, and center fielder Mason Buechler in center. I'm Austin Norman. To my left, Nick Sainert. Game 3 of 4 today for the Class B state tournament. On the mound for Seward, Bryson Burt. Bryson Burt also hits leadoff for Seward. He reached second base on that throwing error by Hunter Spencer, who's on deck right now as a 2-hole hitter, but Burt was unable to cross home plate of his own power, so he works in a scoreless game. 2-pitch mix so far from both pitchers. Nick, you have a fastball and a breaking ball, and I'll give credit to Cal Cooper of Elkhorn South last night. The lefty flashed a changeup that was really good. You're used to 2 pitches in high school. Any guy that has 3 pitches is really just a step ahead of most high school hitters.
Yeah, you're right. And it's important for a lot of these high school guys. You might say, well, why can't they have a fastball and changeup? They could. However, what I will say is having something that moves side to side, whether it's a sweep, whether it's a slide, whatever it might be, If it moves side to side, it's going to create a little bit more of a difficulty for the hitter. Change-ups, they're tougher to throw, right? They're tougher to be actually effective with.
Hard to get the feel for it.
Right, exactly. And so the fact that you can mix in not only just a breaker and a fastball together, but if you can throw in a changeup that provides some vertical movement, then you're going to be okay.
So here comes Schumann. He strides across from the third base dugout to the left-handed batter's box. Seward's coach bringing his outfield in and shifting them over toward the line.
Which I like that move because we've seen it a couple of times today where not necessarily balls have dropped in front of guys, but it's more so of force them to hit one over your head. The wind's blowing straight back to the first base dugout, kind of more so to the first base dugout than home plate. Force them to hit one over your head before you honor it.
First two pitches of the game were strikes here for Bryson Burt, but Schumann lines the second one over the head of the Seward third baseman. At third today is Colton Lose for Seward. So 2 pitches in, and Nick, both teams have their first base runner of the game.
Yeah, we'll see if Bennington can do something different than Seward, where they bring him around to score. You'd imagine that kind of the same philosophy, get him on, bunt him over, bring him in, and we'll see if they can Bennington, Seward didn't, and bring him in.
Here's Hunter. He's a senior playing shortstop today. 385 average on the years. There's one flipped out over the second baseman's glove. It bounced off the turf just out of reach. So first pitch he sees Hunter Spencer goes the other way. Both Bennington batters have little looping singles to the opposite field, and the Badgers are in business with runners on first and second and nobody out. I'll note this about Spencer, something to keep in mind. He's the only player on Bennington's team with multiple home runs. He has 5 this year. He's also the only player on Bennington's team with more than 20 runs driven in. He's driven in almost double that at 38. Here's a 3-hole hitter, Aiden Smith. He's doing the catching for Bennington. He's a righty. Stands in there, takes a fastball. Strike 1.
Yeah, it's important here for Bryson Burt, the Seward pitcher, to stay composed, right? The first guy line, nice piece of hitting over the third baseman's head, but the second one is just an unfortunate situation where the ground ball got through.
Burt brings the breaking ball in this one, looped out to left center field. That's going to drop in front of the left fielder. Might have a play at third. That one just a second late, so not a lot of squared up contact, but 3 consecutive hits to open the game for the Bennington Badgers.
One thing I will say, Tyler Hammond out in left field. So, I mean, we talked about it just a second ago. Guys playing a little more shallow here at the start of this one, and it actually worked out to Seward's benefit. What I will also add, though, is that Tyler Hammond immediately picked it up and went to third. The runner at second, in this case, it was Morgan Schumann. He had a really good read on it. The guy at first, Hunter Spencer, was not as far off the bag. The play could have been at second base instead of third.
First pitch from Burt bounced up there. It's 1-0 to the cleanup hitter, Charlie Swoboda. Swoboda, the only other player on this Bennington team with a home run. He's also driven in the second most runs on the team at 19. He chops this one back to the pitcher. It should be a play at home. Yep, it's a flip from Burt. They do get the force out at home. Good job there by Burt, Nick, not panicking, taking the play that's right in front of him.
Yeah, a lot of people will say, oh, that's not too difficult of a play. When the bullets are flying and that pitcher has to hop off the mound and field it cleanly, but also it's an awkward distance, right? You're probably about less than 10 feet away. Do you glove flip it? Do you grab it with your bare hand and risk maybe slipping on that baseball? He was able to handle it, Bryson Burt that is, and get the force out. Good job by the catcher, also anchoring home plate, not trying to do too much.
So here's Kellen Molnaric taking a ball low and out to begin his at-bat. Only 8 pitches in for Bryson Burt. Bases are loaded. Aggressive early in the count from Bennington. This one flared out to right center field. That's going to split the gap. There's the pain of the outfielders playing shallow. Good hustle by the Seward right fielder. He's going to get it in, but not before 2 Bennington Badger runs cross the plate. That's good hustle, Nick. I thought that one had a chance to roll a little bit further. Seward did a good job cutting that one off. That's Declan Lindau in right field, but there is a perfect read off the bat from Aiden Smith at second base. He trails the lead runner, Hunter Spencer, and just like that, Bennington up 2-0.
Yeah, I love the approach that we're seeing from Seward right now. Bryson Burt's filling up the zone. Good job by him, the Seward pitcher. But, man, Bennington came out. They said, we're going to swing the bat early on, and we're going to make you guys field some plays or field some baseballs. And they're doing a really nice job with the approach, the aggressiveness at the plate here so far.
So Spencer scores and Smith scores, making it 2-0 Badgers. First pitch then to Lane Bover. Breaking ball misses low. 1-0. Burt is set. Slightly open stance on the mound. Brings it home again. That one hits on the outside corner. Strike one. Burt not been afraid to break out the breaking ball early in this one. Fastball hasn't been bad, but Bennington's been on it. Open stance here for Bover. Bat's on his shoulders. Now he picks it up. Inside move to second base. Nobody in the area.
Which that's a conversation. The second base runner, the runner at second base, in this case, it's Kellen Monera, excuse me. Got to know kind of what your surrounding is. You don't have to retreat back to the bag so far. Force them to hold you on.
So here is Burt. He delivers to home plate. That one jammed Bover. He fouled it off toward the Seward dugout. Now it's 1-2.
I also think that going back to that pick play at second, right? Like if you are Bryson Burt in this case, don't even concern yourself with the runner at second, right? You got to worry about the guy at third, but most importantly, the guy in the box right now. Base hit might score two, but you have to remember your outfield is playing very shallow. Molnaric doesn't run the greatest, so we'll see what happens here if he can feed it up.
Bover takes a fastball up and just in. It's 2-2. I agree with your point. If I'm trying to think through Burt's thought process, with even the outfield playing so shallow, and like you said, maybe not the most athletic runner there, that's a guy that's going to want to extend his lead to try to score on a single. This one, it popped up to center field. Drifting back is the center fielder, Quentin Hibbert. He makes the catch, but the throw home cut off, not in time. It's a 3-spot for the Badgers in the first inning.
Yeah, really nice piece of hit, and that one took the center fielder for the Seward Blue Jays. In this case, it was Quentin Hibbert all the way back towards the back side of the top part of the Omaha Maverick logo that's ingrained in center field's turf. And that's right into the teeth of the wind that the flags now, just in the last 3 minutes, have kind of become at a complete standstill, which is the opposite of what we've experienced all day today.
Old Glory still. The NSAA flag was pretty still, but the Nebraska flag still flying strong. Make of that what you will. So here's Jack Essing. He's the number 7 hitter in this lineup. He foul tips it into the mitt of Happ. Strike one. Essing, he's a senior, 318 hitter, driven in 17 runs on the season. Bennington enters today on a 10-game win streak in Class B. Burt delivers that one chopped up the middle. Shortstop there, takes a crow hop, fires to first in time. Head first slide by Essing, not in time. So Seward out of the inning, but the Blue Jays allow 3 runs in the frame. They get their second crack in the batter's box after this on 93.7 The Ticket.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage door sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, a realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com or give them a call today at 402-590-5800. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bennington 3, Seward 0 into the top of the second inning at Tal Anderson Field. Austin Norman and Nick Sainer with you. Jaron Utterback done with his warm-up pitches, so that brings third baseman Colton Lose to the plate. Utterback threw just 12 pitches in that first inning. The second pitch that he threw was chopped to his shortstop, number 8, Hunter Spencer. Spencer threw it away. Seward's leadoff hitter Bryson Burt made it to second base, was moved to third on a sacrifice bunt, but Utterback did a good job coming back with a strikeout and then got a ground ball to end the frame. Here's Colton Lose, wearing number 13, 274 hitter, 17 hits in 62 at-bats this year. Righty-righty matchup. Los watches that one sail out of the strike zone 1-0. Los, tall, lanky third baseman. He does his toe tap as Utterback brings it home. Pretty good spot for that one, but it missed 2-0. Again, Nick, even when Utterback's missed, he's been around the zone. He said he's ready to bring home the third pitch of this at bat. He does that one off the plate, 3-0.
And it's important to mention, I mean, just from the baseball game standpoint, is understand if you're the catcher, you try to take that pitch from the opposite batter's box on the 3-0 delivery here, and it's a 4-pitch walk. While we have a second, the catcher for the Bennington Badgers, in this situation, it's Aiden Smith. He tried to take that pitch from the opposite batter's box and frame it essentially and to the strike zone. Understand, right now, you're not going to get that call. But in the 6th inning, if you stop with so much loud movement behind the dish, more than likely you're going to be getting the benefit of the doubt for your pitcher later in the ballgame.
The other way to counteract that would be set up a little further outside. Here's Declan Lindau. He's playing right field today, batting in the 6th spot for Seward. He wears number 12. Same thing again there, Nick. Fastball outside and really dramatic movement from the catcher.
That's where I tell a lot of the guys I work with, quiet movement, quiet body. If you move your arm, extend your glove all the way out and kind of reach for it, it's going to give the visual to the umpire as finally a strike is called there. It's now 1-1. It's going to give this visual display to the umpire that you had to reach far out of the strike zone to get it. If your body is set up there and you catch every pitch in the center of your body with your nose over that glove, it gives that visual representation that you didn't have to move and do a whole lot of work for it.
Another close miss there by Utterback. He's down in the count 2-1. Yeah, nose over the glove and try to keep within the frame of your shoulders as best you can.
Looks like you caught the ball in the center of your body. Guess what? The umpire most of the time is going to give you the benefit of the doubt, which helps your pitcher out.
Lindau in the batter's box. Los at first. Utterback brings it home. This one chopped to second. Could be 2. There's the 4-6. Do we get the 6-3? We do not. So a fielder's choice 4-6, and Lindau replaces Los at first base.
Good job by the second baseman, right? Sometimes they can get sped up, right? A lot of the times get sped up, try to do too much. You know that they're rushing against the clock, especially to get the guy that hit that ground ball at first base. Make sure of one. For sure, get one out there, and you're in the same situation just with one more out.
Here's Seward's second baseman, Quinn Berner. On the year, the junior hits .283. Utterback yanks that one toward the Seward dugout again, 1-0. He had some good misses in the first inning and start of the second, but now, Nick, with the leadoff walk and some of these last ones, he's really been overthrowing. Utterback is set, slightly closed off stance on the mound. Low leg kick. Berner swings, fouls that one out of play on the right side.
Which you don't want to see it because you're up 3-0. Bennington put up a crooked number in the bottom half of the first inning. There's no reason, right? Go out there, fill up the zone, let your defense work, and then adjust if you need to. But by putting on a guy, on 4 pitches to start the inning, it's not the most promising for the outlook.
Not much of a lead for Lindau at first base as Berner takes a breaking ball out, 2-1 count. A lot of respect for the arm of Aiden Smith behind the dish. Smith gives Utterback the sign. Quick peek over to first. He's ready to bring it home. Separates the ball from his light blue glove. That one slapped on the ground at second base. Now this could be the double play. There's 4-6 and there's 6-3. Bennington gets the double play the second go round. That's Jack Essink to Hunter Spencer over to Charlie Swoboda. Second time's the charm for Bennington. They get out of the inning with the 4-6-3 double play. The Badgers are through 2 defensive frames with a 3-0 lead coming to bat right after this on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on being the best at one thing and getting it right every time. Which is why every chicken finger meal we serve is marinated, hand-battered, cooked to order, and made just for you. Quality isn't complicated, and our menu is proof.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Skip the line and order with our app or online.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
3-0, 2-seed Bennington leading 7-seed Seward here at Tal Anderson Field. I'm Austin Norman, Nick Sainer, the other voice here on the call. Nick, I want to go back to that double play there by Bennington. They had an opportunity right before that, but I thought it was a good decision to keep it in his pocket by Hunter Spencer. Had a throwing error in the first inning, knew that the runner was too far down the line, and it rewarded him. He made the right decision. Pitcher gets a harder shot at the second baseman made for a tailor-made double play.
Exactly, and I think when you look at the way baseball just pans out, we saw it in the first inning with Bennington's defense again. Their shortstop makes an error on the first play of the first batter of the game, makes an error, but how the first inning close out with the ball going right back to the shortstop, has an opportunity to close out the inning, keep Seward at a scoreless 0 in the top half of the first, able to do the job. The ball's going to find you. You're going to get opportunity after opportunity.
8-9-1 for Bennington here in the home half of the second. Jace Fitzgerald, the right fielder, leads things off. He takes a fastball outside for ball 1. Fitzgerald is a senior, 289 batter, driven in 17 runs. Swings and misses over that fastball. Count runs even, 1 ball, 1 strike. Fitzgerald wasn't quite sure he wanted to swing at that one. It was up and out of the strike zone. Put a little funky swing on it, thinking he shouldn't have done it. He's a lefty, waits the breaking ball from the righty Burt. He takes it for a ball, 2-1. Dangerous pitch there, Nick. That was more a spinner than a breaker over the heart of the plate.
Yeah.
Burt's ready again. He brings it home. That one slapped on the ground, too. Short. Up with it is the shortstop for Seward. That's Kian Shadwinkle. He fires across the diamond to Kyle Riley in time, 1 away. So that is back-to-back 6-3 putouts here for the Badgers. That brings up Mason Buechler. Buechler is the center fielder. He's a senior, 258 batter, 16 hits in 62 tries. Open stance, bat waggle, swung on, lifted down the first base line. Riley giving it a look. Will he get there? In and out of his glove. Good effort by Riley. I just think it just popped out of his glove, Nick. He wasn't looking around. He tracked it, just dropped it.
Yeah, and obviously you have to worry about the distance between the foul line and the wall and stuff. But I'll tell you this, I'm actually going to give a little bit of the fault to the catcher there because he dropped it on his way into crashing into the wall on the first base side. That catcher needs to get to the wall himself and yell at his first baseman, room, or wall, because they don't know the dimensions here. They're not comfortable moving with the dimensions here. You got to communicate there, get to the wall, and talk to your first baseman.
There's a lot of foul ground. That one was getting pushed a little bit toward that dugout by the wind that we've talked about. As Burt misses inside, it's 2-1 on Mason Buechler. The wall comes into play not just for outfielders. Bryson Burt ready out of the windup. This one chopped down the third baseline and foul. Count back even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Even in that first inning where Bennington put up 3 runs, Bryson Burt's doing a good job of staying competitive in the zone, right? He might get behind some hitters. He has twice here, but he's been able to get it running even.
He battles back with a breaking ball. That one again chopped down the third baseline and foul. We had a couple situations yesterday, Nick, where neither team popped out at the dugout to get a foul ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's baseball courtesy. It's high school baseball courtesy. There's no ball boy, no ball girl down the line. Burt brings it home. That fastball up and in. Buechler dives out of the way. Full count. Just one of those little things that tells me about how a team's run.
Well, that, but also the mental engagement. How engaged. If you're not playing in a game, you can still be doing a lot of purposeful things in those dugouts.
Burt brings it home, slapped on the ground to second by Buechler in plenty of time, 4-3 for the second out. Good job recently by Bryson Burt. He's living down. He's got now 3 straight ground ball outs after an RBI sac fly from Lane Bover. That does flip the lineup over for Bennington here in the second inning. It'll be Morgan Schumann. He's playing right field or left field wearing number 9. He singled in the first. Made it all the way to third base before getting cut down. Schumann takes a fastball outside edge, strike 1. Bryson Burt, righty on the hill for Seward. Morgan Schumann, a lefty in the batter's box for the Badgers. Burt's ready through the windup, brings it home, low and out, 1-1. Burt peering into the dugout for the pitch, along with his catcher. Seward using the armband system, not relying on the catcher to call it. Schumann open stance. He'll close it off as Burt comes set. Ripped down the first base line, but Riley smothers it. He'll win the race to the bag easily. 3 ground outs in the bottom of the second for Bryson Burt. Seward keeps the Badgers at the board and their deficit at 3-0. Blue Jays coming to bat for the third time after this on 93.7 The Ticket.
Your possibilities are endless at Doane University. Discovering your life's passion is easier with options, and that's what Doane offers students. Rooted in liberal arts, you can choose from undergraduate and graduate programs, all delivering real-world experience. At Doane, we take a personal approach to education, giving you the guidance you need to own your future. It's not just our innovative learning, it's the feeling of being surrounded by possibilities that makes you different. Apply today at doane.edu/apply.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
3-0 Bennington over Seward as we enter the third inning. The Blue Jays will send up center fielder Quentin Hibbert, designated hitter Connor Swajan, and pitcher Bryson Burt to begin the top of the third inning. I'm Austin Norman here with the call of the third, Nick Sainer.
Thank you, Austin. As Jaron Utterback still out there on the mound, obviously, through 2 spotless innings. Not a single hit allowed. We'll see if that turns into an announcer jinx here in just a few minutes. As Austin said, Quentin Hibbert, the center fielder for the Seward Blue Jays, due up first. Number 23 on the Blue Jays squad. Quentin, a sophomore, hitting .294 on the year. Not a whole lot of at-bats this season, just 34 ABs, 10 hits, though, for the sophomore, who hits from the right side, facing the right arm of Utterback. Third baseman playing just about 2 steps in from the bag here with nobody out in the top half of the third inning as we kick and fire. And the first pitch of the top of the third is low, out of the zone, ball 1. So you look at the way Seward got their base runner in the first inning. Bryson Burt reached on an error as the count now is even, 1 ball, 1 strike after Utterback's able to even it up. But you look at the way they got on, other than that error, it's been a perfect day of baseball so far for the Bennington defense. As the 1-1 offering swung on and missed on a fastball in the inner part of the plate, tied him up a little bit, and Hibbert is now quickly down 1 ball, 2 strikes. Utterback doing a good job getting right back up on that mound, ready to go. Pitching with the lead, 3-run advantage for Bennington. The 1-2 is going to be chopped out softly, right side. Second baseman charges, and he flips it over to first in time. A nice job there by the Bennington Badgers second baseman, Jack Essink, who has been involved in the last 3 plays defensively for the Bennington Badgers. One on a 4-6 putout, the other there was the beginner, the igniting switch of the 4-6-3 double play, and now on a 4-3 putout to start inning number 3. 1 out here, Connor Swajan, the designated hitter, steps into the box, hits from the right side. Good physical presence to him as well, hitting from that right side. Number 18 for the Seward Blue Jays, though, Connor Swajan just hitting a measly 159 on the year from the plate as he swings and misses at the 1-0 pitch, and it's now 1-1. Just past 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon here. We'll have one more game to follow in the nightcap at 7 p.m. later this evening. The 1-1 pitch from Utterback is on the way and swung on and missed. Fanned through on the fastball up maybe a little out of the zone, but Swajan liked it. And it's now 1 ball, 2 strikes as Utterback getting ready to throw his 34th pitch of the day as he kicks and delivers, and this one's flied out foul right side, and I think it's going to reach the bullpen. It will. Converging on the spot was the second baseman and right fielder for Bennington, but not enough room is in the ballpark here at Tal Anderson Field as it kicks out wide towards the end of the dugout, but then starts to get more and more narrow as we head towards the foul poles here at Tal Anderson Field. 3:30 down each foul line, 4:10 to straightaway dead center. The wind has calmed down quite a bit since the 10 a.m. first pitch, but still blowing at a pretty decent rate. The 1-2 pitch on the way up out of the zone, ball 2. Bennington, in contrast to the Seward outfielders, playing at pretty normal depth. And the 2-2 pitch from Utterback here And this one's hit well out to left center field. The center fielder ranging over into that wind, and he's going to get there. That one would have been hit a lot farther if that wind would have died down, or it would have been pushing the other way, obviously. But the center fielder, Mason Buechler, who did a really nice job of patrolling center field, going to his right and making the catch on the run for out number 2.
Swajan just missed that one. If that's on a line, it splits the gap, but he got just underneath it, hung up there in the air to get knocked down by that wind, like you were saying, Nick.
So now we turn the lineup over, and it's Bryson Burt up. The pitcher steps into that right batter's box and takes ball 1 up out of the way, and 1-0 is the count. 1 ball, no strikes. Here in the top of the 3rd inning, Bennington leads it 3-0 over the Seward Blue Jays. The pitch, this one lined up the middle. It hit the bare hand of Utterback. He tried to snag it with his right bare hand, and he kind of shook it off. I think a lot of that is just instinct, and we're going to have to check on Jaron Utterback. He says he's fine. He's trying to shoo the catcher away. Umpire is out there to make sure he's all good. But a nice piece of hitting there by Bryson Burt, taking the pitch right where it came from, right up the middle, and basically out of instinct, Utterback was like, I'm just going to reach out, see if I can snag it with my right hand. And fortunately for the Badgers, they don't have to worry about their pitcher getting injured there. And one thing that is interesting, Scott Heese, the head coach for Bennington, was having to ask, hey, if I go check on my pitcher, is that used as a mound visit? He was told yes, and so he had to go back to the dugout because he didn't want to use one of them. Here, bringing up as this one, the first pitch of the at-bat is lined to the shortstop. A tough throw across the diamond, unable to be dug out of the dirt on the attempt after Boston Happ hit it pretty sharply into that 5-6 hole. It was a far throw deep in the hole for the Bennington Badgers shortstop Hunter Spencer. It one-hopped the first baseman on the play for Bennington, Charlie Swoboda, and Swoboda unable to dig it out of the dirt. And so now with 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd, Seward has runners on 1st and 2nd.
Waiting for the official scoring on that. Deep in the hole, that's a tough play for Spencer to make, but he got there, Nick. He rocketed that across the diamond. Looks like we are going to get an E3 on Swoboda on the drop.
So it goes officially as an error on Swoboda, but it allows Bryson Burt to move up to second base. So you think a base knock by Kyle Riley here would potentially score a Seward run as the first pitch of the at-bat. It was a breaker that tried to work back from the inside, unable to do so. It's 1-0. Runners on 1st and 2nd. 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd inning. The second baseman comfortably holding on the runner at second with the right-handed hitter up at the plate. Now they kick, fire, and swung on and missed. That looked to be a little bit of a two-seam fastball that had some good run as it worked from the middle parts of the plate towards the inside and kind of dove down at the back foot of Kyle Riley. It's 1 ball, 1 strike now. From the stretch, here's Utterback. Utterback checks the runner at second 2 times, now fires the runner at second, does run and goes to third, and in safely is Bryson Burt, as it was a little bit of an awkward slide, and sliding on turf is a little tougher. Sometimes your cleat can get stuck in that turf and kind of get wedged in there, but for the most part, Bryson Burt able to get in safely at third base.
But no advance from the trail runner.
That's right. No advance from the runner at first. And so now runners are going to be at 1st and 3rd on the corners with a 2-1 count to Kyle Riley. Utterback comes set, checks each runner, now fires. And it hits the outside corner for a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Riley disagreed. He thought that one was off the plate, but we've seen that called quite a bit yesterday and now a couple times here today. So now Utterback, 1 pitch away, 2-2, 2 outs in the top of the 3rd. The pitch outside, 3-2, and now the runner at first base. In this case, it's Boston Happ. He's going to be able to go off with the pitch. However, can't get too far of a lead because if you're Utterback, keep an eye on him. And if he gets to be a little jumpy over there at first base, maybe you can do something. Here's Utterback. He takes a breath, comes set. He fires. It's low and away, ball 4. And Utterback has now walked Kyle Riley, the 3-hole hitter for Seward, and that loads the bases as Happ will advance to second. Now,
That brings up Kean Shadwinkle. Shadwinkle, the shortstop today, hit a nice sharp ground ball to the shortstop, but it ended the first inning. And now he steps into the right-handed batter's box in the top of the third. He could potentially do some damage if he finds a gap. Utterback comes set. He looks back towards second base. Nobody's holding on the runner, and Shadwinkle takes ball one low and away. 1 ball, no strikes to Kean Shadwinkle. 2 outs here, though, in the top of the third inning. Big opportunity here for the Seward Blue Jays. The pitch, and that one stayed up high enough, hit the outside part of the plate for strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike.
If you're Shadwinkle, you can't try to do too much with that. Utterback's gone back to that a few times. If he throws it there again, you got to try to poke it through the right side.
1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the pitch from Utterback. It's going to be just a tad outside. 2-1.
At some point, Nick, you'd like to see Utterback work back inside with that fastball. If Seward's gearing up to take it the opposite way.
2 balls, 1 strike. The bases are juiced for Seward, who trails it 3-0 to Bennington here in the top of the third inning. The pitch, it's fouled back to the net. He was right on it, just a tad under it. And it's going to be now an even count at 2 balls, 2 strikes as Utterback is ready to throw his 50th pitch of the day. Bases are loaded, right-handed pitcher, right-handed hitter. Shadwinkle in the box, Utterback for Bennington on the rubber. And we have a timeout called at the plate by Kean Shadwinkle. Good decision for the most part. Get Utterback out of a rhythm if he's in one. Also, take a moment to collect yourself. From the stretch, here's Utterback. The 2-2 offering swung on a high chopper. It's going to be hauled in by the shortstop. Does he have time? No, he does not. The throw over to first is not in time. Shadwinkle runs it out, and we have a 3-1 ball game after Seward finally cracks the scoring column. And that's one of the cons to playing on turf, is that the ball can bounce a little higher, a little more aggressively on this turf than it would on normal grass or dirt. And because of that, it was a high chopper that the shortstop for Bennington had to field just in front of second base. He couldn't jump up and grab it. He had to wait for it to come down to him, and it was not in time. So now that brings up Colton Lose. Lose, he has a chance to tie this up with a base hit. This one's hit well out to left field, but it's right at the left fielder. That is what you call a quality at bat, though, because Lose cannot be frustrated with the result. He cannot be frustrated with the process. He can only be frustrated with the result, because that was a hard hit line drive just right at the Bennington left fielder, Morgan Schumann. We go to the bottom of the third inning. Bennington leads at 3-1 here on 93.7 The Ticket.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nick Sainer back with you from Tal Anderson Field as we get ready for the bottom half of the third inning. It'll be hitters 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Bennington Badgers in the home half of the third, who lead it 3-1. Nick Sainer, Austin Norman alongside. Seward finally cracked the scoring column in the top half of the third inning. And now they will send hitter Hunter Spencer, Bennington that is, up to the plate, who fouls it off on the first pitch of the home half of the third inning. It's now 0-1. So still on the mound, it's Bryson Belt for the Seward Blue Jays. Belt so far has allowed 3 runs on 4 hits. No errors committed, though, so far by the Seward Blue Jays. The 0-1 offering is going to be a ball just outside, unable to be handled by the catcher behind the plate, and so it is now a 1 ball, 1 strike count. 1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out here in the bottom half of the third. As here's the pitch from Burt, and it's going to be low out of the zone, ball 2. The sun is out, not a cloud in the sky. The wind has continued to shift directions as this one's going to be a hard ground ball through the middle, into center field, and it will be a leadoff single for Hunter Spencer as he will now occupy first base, bringing up the 3-hole hitter, Aiden Smith. Smith doing the catching today. Aiden singled back in the first, came around to score what would be the second run of the game for the Bennington Badgers, and now he comes up to the plate with a runner on first base and nobody out in the bottom of the 3rd. Nice piece of hitting by Hunter Spencer there to lead off the 3rd inning for Bennington, as the first pitch of the at-bat is swung on, hit right side, but it's going to get out of play on the swing by Aiden Smith. Smith, not the biggest body out there, but man, he swings violent. He really attacked that first pitch fastball from the right arm of Bryson Burt. It was a good job there by Aiden Smith. And Smith now down in the count, no balls, 1 strike. Here's the pitch, runner goes. It's unable to be handled by the by the catcher. And so the runner, Hunter Spencer, able to just trot on into second base. And that is a miscue, trying to worry about the throw before even catching the baseball behind the plate.
I'm not sure he would have had a chance. Nick Samuel got a really good job.
So 1 ball, 1 strike is your count here in the bottom half of the 3rd. Burt comes set at the belt, looks back the runner twice, now fires. This one hit well out into center field. It's tailing, a diving catch. What a snag by the center fielder. The runner at second tags. The throw into 3rd will not be in time, but a nice catch as the first step, Austin Norman, you know this, as an outfielder, first step always back. However, Hibbert did it a little more unconventionally there as he took a first step in, had to retreat going back, jumped up, and was able to snag it out of the air. For out number 2, Quentin Hibbert able to catch it on the fly out to the center fielder. On the play, though, Hunter Spencer did tag from second to 3rd base. So with 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, you have a runner on 3rd. Here's Charlie Swoboda. He takes strike 1 across the heart, and it's 0-1.
Incredible effort out there in center by Hibbert. I thought he took a really flat angle, that half step in, like you said, and then straight line. Took the shortest possible route to get to that baseball. Took a bit of a circus catch, full extension, but he got it. That was impressive.
3-1 is your score. Bennington out in front by 2 runs. Swoboda in the box. He takes ball 1 inside, 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, as this will be the 40th pitch of the day for Bryson Burt. As we near the 5 p.m. hour here at Tal Anderson Field, the pitch from Burt swung on, hammered, foul right side, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Standing in the on-deck circle, the designated hitter, Kellen Molnarek, as he had a 2 RBI double last time up in the 1st inning. But first, we got to get this Charlie Swoboda at-bat concluded. Charlie reached on a fielder's choice back in the 1st inning. Bryson Burt throwing out of the stretch. He comes set at the belt. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the Bennington cleanup hitter. The pitch swung on and missed on an elevated heater, and it's going to be a big strikeout for out number 2. Nice job by Bryson Burt, and now that brings up Kellen Molnarek up to the plate. The designated hitter hitting 5th in the Bennington Badger lineup as he has a runner to try to get the Bennington lead back to 3 runs just 90 feet away. So Burt steps up on the rubber, comes set, looks at the runner at 3rd base, and fires home. The pitch swung on, skied high, right side, a little bit of room as it continues to trail foul, and then it finally hits the net that's connected down the first base foul line. And so when it was all said and done, there was not enough room for the first baseman for the Seward Blue Jays to come on over there, Kyle Riley. But when it was initially hit by Molnarek, it looked like there was going to be enough room, but the wind continued to push it out. Here's no balls, 1 strike to Molnarek, as he takes strike 2, 0-2.
Fastball up and breaking ball out. Those are usually the put-away pitches for high school pitchers here, Nick. We'll see what Burt goes back to.
No balls, 2 strikes. It's a 2-run Bennington lead. They have a runner 90 feet away as this ground ball chopped. Third baseman has it, fires it across the diamond in time, and no damage is done. A nice job by Bryson Burt, able to get a ground ball with 2 outs. Hibbert made a nice catch in center field, and then Swoboda struck out swinging, and that is your 3 outs in the bottom half of the third. We go to the top of the 4th inning when we come back in 30 seconds here on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden Baked Crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nick Sandert, Austin Norman alongside here at Tal Anderson Field as we get ready for the 4th inning of play. The top of the 4th, Seward down by 2, 3-1, as Utterback takes the mound once again for his 4th inning of work. If you missed it earlier, Nebraska softball with a dominating win to punch their ticket to the regional final, where somebody will have to beat the Huskers twice to keep Nebraska from advancing to a super regional. Husker baseball is more than likely going to be an 8 seed in the Big Ten baseball tournament next week in Omaha. And being an 8 seed means that Nebraska will have 1 seed Oregon in their pod. 3-1 is your score. The pitch here, first one of the 4th inning. This one looks to be staying in play. The first baseman ranges over and kind of got lackadaisical with it. Was the first baseman for the Bennington Badgers, Charlie Swoboda, as it bounces off his glove. Had plenty of room. Catcher did a nice job getting all the way to the dugout to help him, his first baseman, out. But unfortunately, it is just a foul ball when it could have been an out for Utterback. Declan Lindau is the hitter. Righty-righty matchup. The 0-1 pitch on the way. Lindau swings and misses. It's 0-2.
He bailed out of the way of that one. That was a rather defensive swing on an inside fastball.
No balls, 2 strikes is Utterback ahead in the count. The pitch outside. Good miss with that one. It's 1-2. We don't see it very often, and the really good pitchers do it effectively to where they establish not only the outside part of the plate, but the inside part. Utterback forces one inside. It's chopped over third baseman, kind of a floating throw in time over to first base for the first out. It was a slow chopper off the bat of Lindau. Fielding it cleanly, though, was number 26, Lane Bover, and he kind of floated it over to Swoboda at first base, but it was in time to retire the Seward leadoff hitter in here in the 4th inning. That brings up Quinn Berner. Righty-righty matchup once again. The first pitch of the at-bat is in there for a strike, 0-1. Utterback done a nice job of pitching to contact and getting some ground ball outs. GBs are always a positive for some pitchers as the Utterback fires, throws, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike after he misses outside. That was the 7th ground ball out of the ball game from Utterback. As this one grounded right side, it's going to be foul. And it's quickly a 1 ball, 2 strike count now to Quinn Berner.
When you think about ground balls at the high school level, Nick, obviously they're a pitcher's best friend because they can't leave the yard. I know young men in the high school game are hitting for more power across the country than they have before. But I do think for the offense, there's something to be said for keeping the ball, line drive or down, make the defense make a play.
Speaking of ground balls, why not another one? As this one's grounded softly to the shortstop. Making the play is the Bennington Badgers shortstop. That's Hunter Spencer firing it over to Swoboda at first. And that's 2 up, 2 down here for Seward in the top half of the 4th inning. And it just feels right now that it's not that Seward's having a tough time making contact off of Utterback. It's just finding holes in this defense, and Bennington's doing a good job for the most part, despite the 2 errors, of just keeping routine plays routine.
The 2 balls that have been hit the hardest from Seward were that line drive single up the middle by Burt, but then that line out to left by Colton Lose. He smoked it on the screws, but within plenty of range for the left fielder.
So Quentin Hibbert is up to bat as he took a strike on the first pitch of the at-bat, and that's now followed up by a ball. It's 1 ball, 1 strike coming up to Quentin Hibbert. 1 ball, 1 strike. 3-1 is your score. Bennington out in front by a pair. The pitch from Utterback. Swung on, hammered third base side. It's going to be fielded cleanly. The throw across the field is in time. 3 ground ball outs. Now Utterback has had 10 of the 12 outs be recorded via a ground ball. His infield putting in some work today as 2 ground outs to third base, 1 to the shortstop, and that is it for the top of the 4th inning. We go to the bottom half of the 4th. When we come back, it's hitters 6, 7, and 8 in the Bennington Badgers lineup after this on 93.7 The Ticket. When daily energy fades and your drive just isn't what it used to be, Game Day Men's Health helps you step back into top form. Game Day Men's Health is one of the country's fastest growing clinics, and they focus on men's wellness, providing customized solutions with professionalism and privacy in mind. Testosterone optimization, weight management, vitamin injections, and shockwave therapy are just a few of the many things they offer. Restore your energy and rediscover confidence with the help of Game Day Men's Health, because every man deserves to feel his best every day. Visit them online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com today or in person at one of their 2 locations in Omaha.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nick Sainert, Austin Norman back with you from Tal Anderson Field in Omaha, OMA, as it's a 3-1 Bennington Badgers lead. Bennington 3 runs on 5 hits. Seward 1 run on 2 hits. And Bryson Burt still out there, and why not? It's not been a poor inning or poor day of work for Bryson Burt, though, so far today. Outside of those 3 runs, they on 3 consecutive singles for the Bennington Badgers. Here's the pitch to the 6th hitter in the Bennington lineup, the third baseman, Lane Bover. Bover hit that sacrifice fly that ended up scoring a run in that first inning. He takes a strike over the heart of the plate before taking ball 1 low and in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike here to Lane Bover. Bryson Burt kind of pushing the envelope on the speed in between pitches. Here he goes. The pitch is grounded softly left side, and it's going to trickle foul. And so Lane Bover will come on back and pick up his bat. If you missed it in the last game, we actually had a bat snap in half. It hit on the handle. The big part went towards the pitcher, and the batter stood there and had just a fragment of his one-piece aluminum bat still in his hands. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Nice job. Got a piece of it, did Lane Bover. And unfortunately, this is not the bench warmers where you can tick it and count it. And so instead, it's going to be a 1 out here in, or excuse me, 1 out in the bottom of the 4th inning after the strikeout. So Lane Bover goes down on strikes. Jack Essink steps into the plate and takes strike 1 on a breaker that worked itself back to the center of the plate. Our nightcap is going to feature Ralston and Gross. Ralston, the 3 seed, Gross Catholic, the 6 seed, as Essink hammers this one foul to the right side and quickly down in the count 0-2.
Gross had quite the tailgate scene going on in the parking lot as I rolled up for this one.
I can still see him. Parents camped out in lawn chairs out there in the parking lot here at Tal Anderson Field.
Got about 30 spots reserved.
The 0-2 pitch, good miss, just off the plate, 1-2. 3-1 is your score. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. Here's the pitch to Essink. And it's a breaker. Almost got him fishing. Unable to get him to go around on it. So it's going to be 2 balls and 2 strikes now to the second baseman for the Bennington Badgers, Jack Essink. 3-1 is your score here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. The pitch. Essink skies this one left side. The left fielder running back, camps under it, and he makes the catch for out number 2. It's a fairly routine F7 on the scorebook for out number 2. That brings up Jace Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald, the starting right fielder for the Bennington Badgers. He will step up to the plate. He grounded out to the shortstop to begin the second inning of play. Here in the fourth, though, he'll hit from the left side as he faces the righty Bryson Burt. And the Seward head coach wants to walk on out, shift his defense accordingly, and there we go, as the pitch on the inside part of the plate is in there for a strike, 0-1. Bryson Burt done a good job so far in this bottom half of the fourth inning, getting on top of guys. He has started with the first pitch strike every single player this inning. This one rolled over to the first baseman. The pitcher's going to have to cover. Has it? No, not in time, as Fitzgerald slides through first base. And the first baseman on the play for the Seward Blue Jays, Kyle Riley, kind of booted it off his glove for a moment. The first baseman unable to haul it in cleanly. Bryson Burt, he was not over at first base in time either to cover. And so Jace Fitzgerald able to slide on into first base head first for a 2-out single. They mark it a 2-out single on the official scoring book. Runner at first base, 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. The pitch is up out of the zone, 1-0. To the 9-hole hitter, Mason Buechler. Buechler getting the start in center field today. 3-1 is your score. Bennington, 3 runs on 6 hits. One of them is at first base right now. The pitch grounded softly. The pitcher able to haul it in. He'll run it over to first base, underhand it to the first baseman, Kyle Riley, and Bryson Burt has worked another good inning. He's through 4 innings of work, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits. Seward trails, though, 3-1. We give it to the 5th inning after this break here on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on being the best at one thing and getting it right every time. Which is why every chicken finger meal we serve is marinated, hand-battered, cooked to order, and made just for you. Quality isn't complicated, and our menu is proof.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Skip the line and order with our app or online.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in to Tal Anderson Field as we get ready to start the 5th inning. One thing I will tell you is it's been a real business-like approach, it feels like, for Bennington and Seward. Seward's calmed down after giving up 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Due up first here in the top half of the 5th. It's going to be 9, 1, and 2 hitters in the Seward lineup. To tell you all about it, here's Austin Norman.
Swajan, Burt, and Happ. Thank you, Nick. Swajan doing the designated hitting today for left fielder Tyler Hammond. Swajan flew out to center for the second out of the 3rd inning. The 3rd inning is when Seward got its run across. It started at 2 outs. It's that line drive single up the middle by Burt. Swajan swings through a fastball, 0-1. Jaron Utterback, now 62 pitches at the start of the inning. There's number 63. Number 4 about to throw pitch number 64 out of that right arm. It's a fastball, low and out, 1-1. Utterback, not the largest man on the hill, but certainly an imposing presence with an ERA of just 1.03. He brings home the 1-1. Flight out to right field. That'll land comfortably in the Seward bullpen and bounce out. So there's a souvenir for the wonderful ticket-taking staff here at Tal Anderson Field. 1-2. Swajan, just a 160 hitter. He watches that one for ball 2. Count is even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's Swajan, blue bat, waggles it above his shoulder. The 2-2 outside, stabbed at by Smith, didn't give his pitcher a chance to get that call. Count runs full. Walks will kill you. Leadoff walks especially will kill you, especially for the 9-hole batter that's hitting 160 entering the game. Utterback is ready. He goes into his windup, kicks, fires, fouled straight back to the screen by Swajan. He stays alive. We'll do it again with the count full. Swajan has that shin guard on his front left leg. Utterback all ready to go. He brings it home, swung on and missed. Swajan goes down on strikes. That is just the second strikeout of the day for Jaron Utterback, but it does come at a good time. Leadoff man retired here in the 5th inning. Now here's the top of the Seward lineup and Bryson Burt. Burt's been aboard both times, 1 for 2 officially, reached on a throwing error by shortstop Hunter Spencer in the first, knocked that line drive single right back up the box in the third. Burt, a 300 hitter, 23 hits in 77 tries, scored 20 runs, gone deep twice on the year. He watches that one low and in for ball 1. Bennington's outfield still playing everyone straight up. Middle infield deep, third baseman even with the bag for Bennington. Here's Utterback, brings home a fastball just low, 2-0.
Utterback on the year, just a 1.03 earned run average. Runs come at a premium against Jaron Utterback. That's been the case today.
Which makes the missed opportunity in the third from Seward loom even larger as Burt takes a strike, not where he was looking for it at 2-0. So here's Utterback. He's ready to bring home the 2-1. Little baby rocker step. He'll bring it home. Same spot, same result, strike 2.
And you get the feeling you're surprised Bryson Burt didn't like that call on 2-2 by the home plate umpire. If anybody knows the strike zone, it's going to be Bryson Burt, as he's the pitcher for Seward, and unable to agree with that call from the home plate umpire.
It's even at 2-2. Very defensive swing from Burt. He shoots that one past his first base coach and foul. We'll do it again at 2-2. At 2-0, Nick, I was going to say maybe for Bryson Burt, that's where you really want to put your best swing on one. See if you can get yourself in scoring position, get your offense going. Burt will chop it high over the head of Bover. Long throw across the diamond by the shortstop for Bennington. Hunter Spencer is in time. I wondered if when that got over Bover, if Spencer was going to have a chance to make a play. He has got a cannon attached to his right shoulder. Nick, that was an impressive throw.
It sure was. And a good job being where he needed to be, right? He ranged over to his right. The third baseman unable. That's that bounce off the turf that we talked about, that first bounce of that baseball. He bounced over that third baseman. Shortstop ranged over, was able to make a throw. Nice and accurate throw for out number 2.
So here's Boston Happ, the catcher. Takes a pitch outside for ball 1. On the day, Happ has a sacrifice bunt. It moved Burt to third in the first inning. And then Happ reached on the error by the Bennington first baseman in the third. That one way up and in on Happ. He ducks out of the way, 2-0.
And that it almost feels like at this point, if you're Seward, right, we've seen them duck out of the way of a couple of inside pitches that maybe have gotten away from Utterback. Maybe that's how you have to spark your dugout a little bit. Figure out a way, maybe unconventional in some people's minds, unconventional, but figure out a way to get on base just to try to spark some momentum and, more importantly, get Utterback out of his rhythm that he's in.
He's about to throw pitch number 79. It comes in a 3-0 count. Happ takes it over the outside corner, 3-1.
I mean, the last 8 batters for the Seward Blue Jays have been retired by Utterback. You haven't had almost a full time through the lineup without a base runner. Figure out a way to get somebody on base here.
Happ swinging away at the 3-1. He chops it foul down the third baseline, full count. Yeah, at this point, you're running out of outs. You're down by 2 runs in the top of the 5th inning. Hard to rally with 2 outs, but it's been done before. Austin Happ awaits the pitch from Jaron Utterback. Happ flies that one down the right field line, twisting and foul. Got a race by 3 youngins from Seward. We'll give it to white shirt and black shorts ahead of blue shirt and gray shorts. Utterback ready on the hill. Dead in the center. Slow kick brings it home. Happ, this will be a ground ball out to the shortstop. Spencer, he's up with it, throws across the diamond. Perfect throw, chest height in time for the second consecutive 6-3 and the third out of the top of the 5th inning. Bennington leads Seward 3-1. You're listening to Class B State Baseball on 93.7 The Ticket.
Your possibilities are endless at Doane University. Discovering your life's passion is easier with options, and that's what Doane offers students. Rooted in liberal arts, you can choose from undergraduate and graduate programs, all delivering real-world experience. At Doane, we take a personal approach to education, giving you the guidance you need to own your future. It's not just our innovative learning, it's the feeling of being surrounded by possibilities that makes you different. Apply today at doane.edu/apply.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
3-1, number 2 seed Bennington leads number 7 seed Seward. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's Bryson Burt back out for his 5th inning of work. He will deal with the top of the lineup for Bennington. It'll be Schumann, Spencer, and Smith. Nick, something to keep in mind here for both of these teams is pitch counts. Class A has maybe a slight advantage in the pitching department with that extra day off. Since they started on Friday, they can afford to let their starters air it out a little bit longer because they get today off. Everyone gets tomorrow off, and then everyone will play again on Monday. But for these Class B and C schools, it's really going to be a little bit more of a strategic element to decide just how long do you want your starter to go. Burt right now is at, I have him at 56 pitches. And for Utterback especially, he is at 82 on the scoreboard. And do you run him out there to start the inning? Do you go to your bullpen to try to bring Utterback back, one day sooner potentially? We'll have to definitely monitor that. So here it is, the top of the order for the Bennington Badgers. It is Morgan Schumann, left fielder, wears number 9, is in the left-handed batter's box. Takes Burt's first pitch, belt high, across the heart of the plate for a strike.
So just for context here, if Utterback is pulled from the game, he's got to have 3 days rest. So he would not be able to pitch until Wednesday of next week.
High chopper by Schumann right up the middle, fielded behind the second base bag by second baseman Quinn Berner, but he is not able to get that throw across the diamond in time. It's an infield single leading off the 5th for Morgan Schumann. Another one of those plays, Nick, where the 1980s called, and they tell us they appreciate ones like that. There's just not much fielders can do. They just got to wait for it to come down.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
On grass, you probably go try to get it before it takes that second hop. On turf, really nothing much there. Here's Hunter Spencer. He has been busy in the field. Since his error on Bryson Burt, he has been rock solid with that rocket arm. He shows bunt, pulls it back on a fastball up 1-0. Spencer today 2 for 2. Couple of singles. He scored a run back in the first. He's a righty. He shows bunt again. There goes the runner, Schumann. That throw up the line. Tag was missed. That throw took the shortstop for Seward, Kean Shadwinkle, way toward the first base side of the bag. Thought it was going to work, Nick, but Shadwinkle had to come in a little bit too far. Wasn't able to reach that tag as Schumann ran by him.
Yeah, it's tough. Didn't get a good jump. Expected his teammate, the guy in the box, to be able to get that bunt down. Unable to do so, but it works out in Bennington's favor. I just think like this feels like such a big moment in the game for the Seward Blue Jays. You don't feel like you can absorb any more runs given up to Bennington and feel like you have a shot to get this one, considering you've only been able to muster 2 hits all game long.
And really only one good scoring opportunity if you're Seward. Burt brings a strike in and a 3-0 count, now 3-1.
But then conversely, you have, on the other hand, if you're Bennington, you feel like this is a spot where the dam could break as they walk him. It feels like a spot to where almost not to the level of the Scott game that we saw earlier this morning, but same kind of philosophy and thought process. Put up a crooked number. You did it in the bottom half of the first inning. You've been held scoreless in 2, 3, and 4. Now here in the bottom of the 5th, maybe you can put up another 3 spot and you really open up this ball game.
We do have some activity in the Seward bullpen right now. Some players sitting in the Bennington bullpen, but no one warming up. First and second, no one out. That one chopped up the middle by Smith. Past the diving shortstop. Here comes the runner. He's waved around third. That throw is going to sail and short hop the backstop. The runners will move up to second and third. So that is an RBI single off the bat of Bennington catcher Aiden Smith. He brings home Morgan Schumann to extend the Badgers' lead to 4-1, but the Badgers aren't done yet. The throw by center fielder Quentin Hibbert missed the target by about 30 feet. It goes to the backstop. Smith motors in to second base, and Spencer stands at third. So runners on second and third. We do have a courtesy runner for Aiden Smith. It's going to be number 12, Elliot Anderson. We have a mound visit here from the Seward head coach, his team trailing 4-1 in a precarious position.
The one thing I do want to say, as we saw the center fielder for Seward sky it a mile above the catcher's head, a lot of times coaches tell their guys in the outfield, throw it through the cutoff guy, not to the cutoff guy, throw it through the cutoff guy. Why? Because normally that's going to keep it on a line. It's easy for the catcher, especially on turf. It's going to take a clean bounce. It can go right into the guy's glove. Don't try to do too much. That is the same. I mean, yes, it's officially scored as an error, but not only did you make one mistake by missing your cutoff by a mile, but you compounded the mistake, because then great job backside base running by Aiden Smith, getting up an extra 90 feet. You take any potential of a double play out of order, and now you have two runners in scoring position besides just one.
Burt comes back with a breaking ball, strike one to Charlie Swoboda, 0-for-2, reached on a fielder's choice and struck out. No chance by Hibbert to get the runner at home plate. He decided to throw it there anyways, and to Nick's point, cost him double.
Which it's okay, because you're trying to cut him down at the plate in a close ball game. However, throw it through the cutoff guy. You didn't give your chance, in this case, the first baseman who is the cutoff, didn't give him a chance to cut it off. You didn't give him a chance. You only have one situation here, and it's throw it to the backstop.
That is drilled to left into the teeth of the wind by Swoboda. Here come the next two runners. Charlie Swoboda motors into second. It's a 2-run double, and this game has been blown back open by Bennington. It's now 6-1 Badgers. They've put up 3 runs here in the 5th before Seward can record an out.
There you have it. There's your crooked number that we just talked about, Austin. 3 in the 1st, now here 3 runs in the 5th. Doesn't look like Bennington is going to slow down. And if you are Seward Blue Jay head coach Brock Anderson, you're sitting here saying, okay, the leash is starting to get a little tighter against Bryson Burt. And that's where, unfortunately, if you're Bryson Burt, you're sitting here saying, I'm pitching to contact. I'm trying to let my defense do the job. But unfortunately, 2 errors for the Seward Blue Jays today, and they've come at pretty important positions in this game.
6-1 Bennington. 3 in the 1st, now 3 in the 5th. Here's the second mound visit of the inning. By rule, that will be the end of the line for Bryson Burt. He will be responsible for Charlie Swoboda standing at second with nobody out. We'll go to break, come back in 60 seconds here on the ticket, tell you about the new Seward pitcher in the Class B state tournament.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
Chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
6-1, Bennington has opened it up here over Seward. We'll tell you about the new pitcher when he turns it up that we can see his number. A couple of defensive changes, though. Bryson Burt will not leave the game. Looks like he is headed out to shortstop, and that means that shortstop Kian Shadwinkle, he ran to the bench to get his outfield glove, is into left field, and Tyler Hammond's day is done. He was DH'd for by Connor Swajan. Hammond comes out of the game.
Who Swajan now is on the mound pitching.
There you have it. So for Seward, that is number 18, Connor Swajan. 1-0 on the year with 2 saves. His ERA minuscule at 1.75. He's tasked with shutting down this Bennington offense that came back alive for 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. 6 runs, 8 hits, and 2 errors committed by Bennington. 1 run on 2 hits with 2 errors by Seward.
Yeah, figure out a way to limit damage here if you're Swajan. Figure out a way. You got a runner, you inherit a runner in scoring position at second base, but you're still in the meat of the Bennington order here to Kellen Molnarek. And a good stop behind the plate there, not allowing the runner at second to advance. Good job behind the dish.
Swajan's first pitch misses low. It's 1-0. Swajan's a big dude out there on the mound. Got that armband on his left arm, glove tucked tight. He comes set at the letters, drops it to the belt. Leg kicks and fire. Shot out to right field. It's going to hang up. Right fielder Lindau got turned around. Wind pushed it. He makes the catch, fading backwards. So there's an out, but there is a sacrifice fly aspect to it by Molnarek. He does the job, moves a runner up. At this point, Nick, after Bennington's already put 3 runs on the board, a sacrifice fly moving the runner an extra 90 feet is certainly an acceptable result.
Yeah, certainly, right? And because now, if you're Bennington, as you continue to try to put up more of a crooked number, Scott Heese, the head coach for the Badgers, is sitting there saying, okay, we need something right side, something do your job, and somebody do your job, I should say. Infield is in, going to try to cut down the run at home plate, get something hard enough where it bounces off the turf and gets into the outfield.
Here's Lane Bover. He had an RBI sacrifice fly as the second out of the first inning. He also struck out in the 4th. First pitch taken for a strike. It's 0-1. 6-1 Bennington here in Game 3 of 4 of the Class B State Tournament. Up the middle, shortstop Burt brings it home. Throw is in time. That's a tough play for the shortstop Bryson Burt. He was moving back up the middle. It was hit decently, but Nick, that's a great job to get to that ball, get around that ball, and get enough momentum coming home to make an accurate throw to his former battery mate Hap to save a run for Seward.
Yeah, that was a great play by the shortstop there. Great play. Range to his left, and it was able to kind of throw across his body. He was up against the clock as the runner, Charlie Swoboda, was darting home, and he kind of took a friendly and beneficial hop for the shortstop off the mound, kind of fielded it right into the triple threat position that we talk about in basketball, and was able to put it right up next to his ear to fire it home.
Here is second baseman Jack Essing for Bennington. 0 for 2 on the day, grounded to short, flown to left. He takes the first pitch up for a ball. Swajan brings it home. That one skips away from the catcher. That's going to be a free 90 feet for Bover. Hap didn't work all the way around that baseball, deflected off to his right side toward his dugout.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, especially when you're catching, that if you just slide directly horizontally left and right, that it'll do the job. When you have some spin on that baseball, you got to really angle your right hip or your left hip out to angle it back towards home plate. You got to think about the spin that's on that baseball, especially when it hits off this turf.
Hap gives the sign. Swajan delivers. High bouncer to shortstop. Burt makes another play. He couldn't help himself out on the mound, but he does help limit the damage in the field. 6-3 for Essing to end the 5th, but not before Bennington tacks on 3 extra runs to their lead. We go to the 6th. It's the Badgers 6 and the Blue Jays 1 here in the Class B State Tournament on the ticket.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
6-1 Bennington over Seward as we enter the 6th inning. Seward 6 outs to get 5 or more runs, give themselves a chance in this one. I'm Austin Norman, Nick Sainert to my left. It's Jaron Utterback returning to the mound for his 6th inning of work. Nick, you brought up the numbers for him. He is sitting at 81 pitches right now. So if he throws another 9 more, he's going to have to take a full 4 days off. What do you think the strategy is here from Bennington? Trust their ace and air it out, or let him start the inning and have someone ready down in the bullpen?
Well, I think you look at it this way, right? So tomorrow is 1 day of rest, and then that would be on Wednesday. He'd be ready to go. You also get Thursday off. So there's a way that you could stretch this out. Bennington as the 2 seed, there's a pretty good chance that they feel like they can make a state championship appearance. And so he would be able to come back on what would be 6 days of rest, essentially, if they were able to make the state championship. You look up and down the roster, who else do they have, right? You have Houston Hill, who's 5-0 on the year. You have a guy in Brant Schmidt who's 5-2 with a 1.22 earned run average. You have a lot of options that you can go to. Dominic Mendocino, 4-0 on the year with a 3.12 earned run average. You have a lot of options there that if Bennington's able to kind of get their way through the winner's bracket, that Utterback will be fine and go ahead and use them. Now, it's important to note, no pitcher in the varsity level can go more than 110 pitches. That is the absolute max, regardless of the inning. And so that's something to just note of as we go forward here.
We'll see if Utterback gets there as he just throws his 84th pitch. He's behind Kyle Riley, 2-0. Riley struck out in the first, drew a walk in the third. Here we are in the sixth. That fastball just up, now 3-0. And Nick, this is a pretty good start for Seward. Wouldn't shock me to see a pinch runner on for Riley potentially if he reaches base to try to create some havoc as Bennington's thrown it around a little bit. But we'll see if he gets there first. That fastball taken outside, so Riley will trot the 90 feet to first base. And as I said, there's already a runner out of the dugout, helmet and oven mitt on.
It is interesting because Bennington had 3 guys in the bullpen, kind of just stationed out there while Utterback was going through work the last couple of innings. However, here in the top half of the sixth, they took him out. They took him out of the sixth there, or took him out of the bullpen. Nobody is down there. That left field bullpen vacant for Bennington. And so we'll see what the leash length is like for Utterback on the mound here.
Here's Kean Shadwinkle. He had an RBI single his previous at bat in the third inning. He drove in the 1 run for Seward. Shadwinkle moved from shortstop to left field after Bryson Burt left the game. Good start to this top of the sixth inning for Seward with the leadoff walk. Heart of their order. Shadwinkle flies that one out to right. Right fielder drifting back, gets behind it, makes the catch about 15 feet in front of the warning track. So after 4 straight balls, puts the leadoff runner on base. Shadwinkle goes after the first one. Not what I might have done in that situation.
Yeah, right. And we talked about that. I think, though, Seward, you're just looking for something, right? Something of substance. String along a couple of runners here, and Seward just can't find an answer to Utterback on the mound. But for Bennington, a really good sign because Utterback settled back in after 4 straight. Now a nice rip out to center field that's going to be hauled in by the center fielder. But I'll let you talk about that a little bit more. But Utterback done a good job, right? 4 consecutive balls, but now on 2 consecutive pitches, 2 outs.
That was Colton Lose that for the second at bat in a row, Nick, hit it on a line, but directly at a fielder. That's maybe a little bit better process than what Shadwinkle did. He missed it. It looks like we are going to get a call to the Bennington bullpen as Jaron Utterback just threw his 88th pitch of the day. At least that's my guess. At the very least, we're having a conversation. Bennington appears to be gathering by the entrance to its dugout. So we'll see if there's a pitching change.
So here's part of the rule and conversation. I would imagine that Bennington is going to pull him because he cannot go past 90 pitches and still qualify for just 3 days of rest. And so right now at 88, he only has to rest for 3 days. The other part is with that 110 number, if you start an at-bat before the 110th pitch, you can finish the at-bat with no restrictions. However, if he were having to go 3 pitches in this next hitter and finished with 91, just because you started the at-bat before the 90th pitch, that doesn't mean that you can just say, hey, it's only 3 days of rest. You pitched 91 you threw it 91 times. That's 4 days of rest. Smart decision there by the Bennington Badger coaching staff because now he will be available on Wednesday.
So Jaron Utterback's day on the mound is done. He is still responsible for the runner at first base, but with 2 outs in the top of the sixth, getting more difficult by the batter for Seward to mount a rally. The new Bennington pitcher is Number 19, sophomore Brody Leidy. Leidy, big presence as a sophomore. No record, but 3 saves this year. His ERA 1.29. He is a bigger presence on the mound than Utterback is. But, Nick, this is what you were talking about before, the depth of options. Even as a sophomore, Leidy's got some zip to it. But if you go up and down the ERAs for Bennington, it's 3.5, 1.03, 3.8, 3.1, 3 even, 1.2, 3.5. 1.29 here for Leidy, 1.98 and 3.5. This is a pitching staff for Bennington that, like I said, has only lost 3 games. They allowed 8 runs to Elkhorn in a loss. Their 2 other losses, they only allowed 3. Bennington has not allowed more than those 8 runs in a game this year to Elkhorn. They've only allowed more than 6 or more runs. They did it once in a 12-6 win over Crete, once in a 9-6 win over fellow Class B state qualifier Ralston, and that's it.
As we close the book on Utterback, his final stat line, and yes, he's responsible for the guy on first base, 5 2/3, 2 hits allowed, just 2 strikeouts, but 2 walks as well. How about this? Since the RBI single back in the 3rd inning, he retired 11 of his next 12 batters faced, and that one that he didn't was in the form of that walk that happened to Kyle Riley to lead off this inning. I mean, that's some special stuff from Jaron Utterback, the Bennington starter.
He hands the baton to Brody Leidy, whose first pitch is low for a ball. Leidy tosses it over to first base to keep courtesy runner over there. So here's Declan Lindau, heading the count 1-0. Waits the pitch from Leidy, fastball low and in, 2-0.
Now, this is once again, right? You have to understand your assignment, which Leidy does as a guy that has saves or 3 saves on the year. Understand your job. What's your job right now? Go in, throw strikes, get out of this inning with still a 5-run lead.
Leidy closed stance, set at the belt. Slide, step, and fire. Letter high for a ball, 3-0. Now, if you're Lindau, I think this bat stakes to the shoulder. Leidy brings it home. There's the first strike of his night, 3-1. I think you're still pretty picky here if you're Lindau. If you get a pitch to drive, go for it. But if there's any hesitation at all, live to see another pitch. A little indecisive on the swing there. He fouls it off. Now it's 3-2. That will put the runner in motion at first base. Seward trails Bennington 6-1. Badgers scored 3 in the bottom of the first. Seward got 1 back in the top of the third. There goes the runner on 3-2. Lindau fouls it off. We'll do it again.
Yeah, Lindau guessing quite a bit at the plate right now. And obviously, you're going to get a natural amount of that just from being the first batter that faces a new pitcher. But stepping out, not inconsistent with that load. He's not on time right there. Barely got a bat on that one that fouled off to the right side. Despite the payoff pitch coming, if Leidy can make a good spot here, he's got the advantage.
Comes in low and in. So Lindau works ahead in the count, 3-0. Gets back to 3-2, but Leidy does put him on first base. First and second, 2 away. Lindau's first time on base comes here in the 6th, and now here's Quinn Berner. Berner grounded into a double play to end the Seward threat in the 2nd inning, and then he grounded out to short in the 4th. Seward had a leadoff walk from first baseman Kyle Riley. And it was a fly out to right by Shadwinkle and a line out to center by Lose. Leidy peering in for the sign from his catcher Smith. Closed stance, now he kicks and deals. That one chopped really high in the air. No signal from the home plate umpire, but Berner wasn't running out of the box. Berner thought it might have clipped his foot. His first base coach is asking about it. Now is his head coach at third base. Berner did not take off out of the box at all. He just stood there. The runners went on contact. Bennington moved like it was clean. But Quinn Berner just stood in the batter's box, took off on a half-hearted jog. We saw that last night in the Elkhorn South game as well, Nick. There's an Elkhorn South player that fouled one he thought off of his foot. He just stood there. Everyone else was moving. Yeah. We're still having a conversation. Seward doesn't want to leave the field. They're convinced that it was fouled off the foot of Berner, but now they'll give up the protest with a little shoulder shrug, more of a throwing hands up in a what are we doing here motion.
Well, Brock Anderson, the head coach for Seward, is trying to tell the home plate umpire, number one, to ask for help from the first base umpire. He did not choose to oblige there. But then also number two is, unfortunately, the Brock Anderson, the head coach for Seward, is saying, obviously something hit my guy's foot because he didn't run. He pointed to home plate saying he stayed put in the batter's box the entire time, and yet it's a fair ball. Unfortunate break I think that's an unfortunate break for Seward because they've struggled so much to just get anything going. And they finally had a sliver of substance in that top half of the sixth inning. Now, granted, it was based on 2 walks that were given up by Bennington, but everything kind of just goes away because of an unfortunate break on a potential foul ball that hit off the foot that wasn't called.
And stuff like that in baseball, it hits a little harder than football or basketball. In those sports, you can run out the clock. In baseball, that other team has to get that third out. And these guys have been playing baseball long enough. Pretty hard to fake something like that. If Bernard was doing such a good acting job, credit to him. But I'm in the camp that would say it probably did foul off of some piece of his body as he was in the box. And I think home plate ump just missed it.
And my thing is in what universe are you in where a player, a hitter, hits it and then thinks, oh, I'm going to act like that one hit me off the foot to give it a foul ball. That's just such a bizarre approach. And so it's really unfortunate. But then again, if the umpire didn't see it, he can't call it. And I don't want him on the other hand, then Austin,
don't assume
and say, oh, you know what? That guy just stopped. Let's just go ahead and get him a foul ball. It's a tough little situation to work out there.
Swajan's first pitch and second pitch are both low. He is behind 8-hitter Jace Fitzgerald 2-0. We will have a pinch hitter due up for Mason Buechler. We'll tell you about that in a little bit. It appears that Hibbert is now in left field, which moves the shortstop of previous record Shadwinkle over to center field, with Bryson Burt taking over on the left middle side. Swajan now down in the count 3-0 to the 8-hole hitter Jace Fitzgerald. Bennington looking to add some insurance on top of its 5-run lead here and there. Most likely last chance at the plate. Fitzgerald takes that fastball over the outside edge.
And that's what you can't have if you're Seward. If you're Seward after the way that top half of the sixth inning concluded, figure out a way to get in here, get 3 up, 3 down. Don't allow anything to compound frustrations as this one's bounced out left side.
Swajan gets that ground ball. It will go 5-3 for the first out of the inning. Fitzgerald retired on a ground out for the second time today. So not pretty, not clean for Seward in that at bat, but they do get the out. That does bring up that pinch hitter that I mentioned was coming for Bennington. Mason Buechler's day at the plate is done after a couple of ground outs. Replacing him in the batter's box is Carson Cortan. The junior is 10 for 42 on the season, driven in 17 runs.
So here we're going to have a defensive substitution for Seward in the middle of this inning here. It looks like they're going to call out the right fielder just to get him warmed up. They want to send him to the bullpen.
That's Lindau.
Yep. And I believe they put number 4, Lane Luby, into right field. I believe that's who I saw jogging out to right field. You might have to correct me if I'm wrong on that later.
We will trust your young eyes. You are the junior in this booth right now. So that one bounced up there by Swajan. It's 1-0 to the pinch hitter, Carson Cortan. 6 runs, 8 hits for Bennington. They lead it by 5 in the bottom of the 6th. Swajan brings it home, cut on and missed by Cortan. He's down, count is now even, 1 ball and 1 strike. Bennington in their home whites, blue helmets. Seward's got their road grays with yellow caps on, yellow letters as well. Breaking ball and a beauty. 11-5 curveball there from Swajan. Crosses the outside part, 1-2.
We talked about it, right? Got to have some sort of horizontal movement or angled movement that's more of a sweeper with what you just kind of described. And it was a good pitch there on 1-1.
Swajan dropped that back shoulder through that fastball high. Counts even again, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Been a pretty quick moving game here, all things considered, between these two Class B opponents. Didn't face each other in the regular season. Half-hearted check swing They're saying there was no contact made. So the breaking ball that bounced in front of the plate, Seward thought there was some contact made. The runner believed he swung and missed. So Carson Cortan strikes out but makes his way to first base after the bouncing ball bounds all the way to the backstop. And now Buechler is going to be on first base. Did not take the at-bat, but he will get his chance on the base paths.
Yeah, it's just a reminder. Obviously, in college, guys can't re-enter, but in high school, position players can re-enter up to one time per game. So now Buechler, like Austin said, back into the game, just running at this case or at this situation, and he'll take his rightful spot in center field.
Throw over by Swajan, not in time. Buechler dives back head first.
Which, if it's used correctly by coaches and they're on their P's and Q's, it can be a real effective tool, the re-entering piece of it.
Buechler's bat, certainly not his strong suit. On the year, a .260 hitter, 16 of 62. But, to Nick's point, works out for him in the end. Swajan's first pitch misses. It's 1-0 now as the lineup turns over to Morgan Schumann. He's 2 for 3 on the day. There's another pick over to first base. Buechler's back in plenty of time.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised they're paying as much attention to Buechler as they are. He's got a pretty conservative or regulated lead over there at first base, and it's not like Swajan, or any Seward pitcher has been able to consistently find the zone, figure out a way to retire Morgan Schumann, and instead now you're down in the count 2-0 to the leadoff hitter with the meat of the Bennington lineup ready to go.
Schumann 2 for 3 on the day. He singled twice and grounded out to first. Here's the pitch from Swajan. Breaking ball, didn't tail back enough. Now 3-0.
I mean, you can tell there's some guys that when they get in, and this is what it's really hard to do when you're in ahead and you're trying to close out a game. But in this case, for Seward, down by 5, as now it's the third time they've picked over to first base during this at-bat. My thing is this, is you have to be able to control the moment when you're on the mound. And a lot of guys, you can get up there, and as soon as somebody gets on base, whether they're a stealing threat or not, they just get flustered. You can see it in their pace. You can see it in the amount of time they take between after coming set and delivering home. You can just tell, as we are even up here in the press box, Swajan's worried about Buechler, who was on first, now on second after a 4-pitch walk.
I saw a statistic at one point, I'm sure my dad shared it with me, that after every time a pitcher picks over to first instead of going to the plate, the likelihood, the odds of him throwing a ball instead of a strike go up something like 15 to 20%.
Which is massive.
2 on and 1 out for Bennington. Here's the 2-hole hitter, Hunter Spencer. He's been aboard all 3 times, a couple of singles and a walk. Bennington leads 6-1, looking for some insurance. Seward holding the runner, Buechler at second. Spencer drills that one to center field. It's going to send the center fielder back. It's over his head. Will it go all the way to the wall? No, cut off at the warning track. Here comes the first runner. Here comes the second runner. Spencer dives head first into third base. It's a 2-run triple for Hunter Spencer. The Badgers now lead it 8-1.
There you go. You unfortunately had thrown 5 consecutive balls to a Bennington Badger hitter, and then finally able to throw one over the heart of the plate. They knew it was coming, and when you're a 2-hitter in the Bennington Badgers lineup, like a guy like Hunter Spencer, who on the year is hitting close to 400, that rule of let's just give him the red light, that doesn't apply, and it didn't there as he hammered a fastball over the center fielder's head into the teeth of the 10-mile-an-hour wind and over the Omaha logo in center field. Just a great piece of hitting as Bennington adds 2 more.
I think that probably takes the cake for the longest rip I've seen here at the Class B state tournament. That one on a line to the center fielder. Here comes Spencer home. Good throw in time. The turf slowed Spencer down on his slide. What a catch and what a throw by Seward center fielder Kean Shadwinkle. Wasn't sure he got behind it enough or had enough momentum coming home, but Spencer's momentum was slowed by the worn-out turf around home plate. Great tag applied by catcher Boston Happ as well. That cuts down a run at the plate. We go to the top of the 7th. Seward needs 7 runs to keep their first appearance at this Class B state tournament alive. We'll see if they can get it done in the top of the 7th or if Brody Leidy slams the door for Bennington next on the ticket.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on being the best at one thing and getting it right every time. Which is why every chicken finger meal we serve is marinated, hand-battered, cooked to order, and made just for you. Quality isn't complicated, and our menu is proof.
Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Skip the line and order with our app or online.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bennington leads Seward 8-1 in Game 3 of the 2025 Class B State Tournament here at Tal Anderson Field. Austin Orman, Nick Sainer with you. It'll be Hibbert, Swajan, and Burt, the first three batters tasked with keeping Game 1 alive for Seward. Nick, on the one hand, you'd like to start a rally with 1, 2, 3, top of your order, your most trusted hitters. On the flip side, if you can get the ball rolling early with the bottom, neither hitter has reached yet. Hibbert and Swajan on the one hand, they're due. If you can have traffic on the bases for your best hitters, really get that ball rolling. That goes a long way for a team staring down the barrel of a 7-run deficit.
You're absolutely right. Here in the top of the seventh inning, it's 8-1. Bennington out in front of the Seward Blue Jays. The first pitch is going to be swung on and dribbled to the left side. Third baseman fields it cleanly, short arms it over to first base, able to dig it out of the turf over there was Sabota. One pitch, one out for Brody Leidy. So nice job on the 5-3 put out there for out number one. That brings up Connor Swajan. Swajan was doing the DHing earlier in the ball game, now transitioned to pitcher, but he gets to keep his spot at ninth in the order. Righty-righty matchup as Leidy on the mound from the stretch. Comes set at the chest, wiggles it down to the belt, and fires home, a first pitch strike on the breaker to Connor Swajan. It's interesting. Leidy, when he comes set, he kind of angles his front foot in towards a more closed-off stance. One thing that can do is it hides the baseball from the hitter, as it's now no balls and 2 strikes to Connor Swajan with one out here in the top of the seventh inning. But the other thing is it forces him to really open up with that front hip and get his body around, creates a little bit of torque as he delivers and strides out from that pitcher's mound. No balls, 2 strikes here in the top of the seventh inning.
On the one hand, that torque might add a little velocity. On the other hand, it's something else to keep in mind, complicates that delivery a little bit.
Absolutely right. The 0-2 pitch on the way. Breaker, it floated across the heart of the plate, and Brody Leidy takes a stroll around the pitcher's mound. He gets the ball after the Bennington Badgers throw it around the horn, and there is 1 out left for the Bennington Badgers to get here in the first round of the state baseball tournament. That was a looping curveball or breaker that started towards the inside part of the chalk and then just floated over the heart of the plate, and Swajan had no idea what to do. Now top of the order breaker here could be the ball game. A fly ball out to center field. Ranging over is the center fielder, and he is catching that. That's Mason Buechler, who closes out the game. The Bennington Badgers, they win it comfortably 8-1 here over the Seward Blue Jays. We'll take a 60-second break, come back and put a bow on it as we get ready for the nightcap between Ralston and Gross here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Your possibilities are endless at Doane University. Discovering your life's passion is easier with options, and that's what Doane offers students. Rooted in liberal arts, you can choose from undergraduate and graduate programs, all delivering real-world experience. At Doane, we take a personal approach to education, giving you the guidance you need to own your future. It's not just our innovative learning, it's the feeling of being surrounded by possibilities that makes you different. Apply today at doane.edu/apply.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Back to the 2025 State Baseball Tournament on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nick Sainert, Austin Norman back with you from Tal Anderson Field as we have concluded Game 3 of the day here at Tal on the campus of Omaha. And maybe most importantly, Bennington advances to the winner's bracket game. They'll play Monday afternoon against the winner of our nightcap between Ralston and Gross Catholic. That one slated to start in a little over 1 hour's time. Now, one thing I will say, Brody Lighty comes in, slams the door. It only takes him 14 pitches. He throws an inning and a third. He faces 5 batters, strikes out 1, walks 1, does not allow a single hit, and most importantly, does not allow a single run. The pitching staff collectively for the Bennington Badgers, Austin Norman, they only allow 2 hits. They only allow 1 run, and it came back in that 3rd inning. A really nice performance by the group of Utterback and Lighty tonight on the mound for the Bennington Badgers.
Absolutely it was. They only ran into trouble once, like you said, there in that 3rd inning. Felt a little similar to last night's Kearney Elkhorn South game to me, Nick, where Cal Cooper was dealing, lost it a little bit in the 3rd inning, and Seward had the table set for it in the 7th, very similar to the way it did in the 3rd. It was a ground out by Hibbert, and then Swajan got out in the 3rd, but then Burt laced one back up the middle. Happ reached on an error by the first baseman. Riley drew a walk to load the bases. Shad Winkle had the RBI single, so bases were loaded with 2 outs, and Los hit that one on the screws to left field. That felt like the turning point in the game, because then when Seward came back up in the top of the 4th, Utterback was back on balance, got 3 ground outs there, then strikeout, ground out. He was back in rhythm. A walk didn't bother Lighty then. It was Utterback to start the frame. Lighty came in for that last third of the 6th inning. But Seward not being able to capitalize more is a credit there to Utterback. Hadn't played absolutely properly, but you expect 1 bump, maybe 2 bumps in the road in a game between teams of this caliber. Credit to Bennington for hanging in there with that 3 spot in the 1st. They took Seward's best shot in the 3rd, added on late to make this game look, I think, Nick, like a more dominant win than maybe it was at times.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And Bennington able to win it, though, 8-1. They'll advance to play the winner of our next game between Ralston and Gross Catholic. Now, the losers, the Seward Blue Jays, struggled to get any sort of offense going today. There was a lot of issues with Seward. They were able to crack the scoreboard in the 3rd inning. I think we had the conversation of, hey, you know what? There's a chance that if they can then compound something positively, they might be able to string something together, right? They had done a good job defensively up to that point of righting the wrongs and being able to hold Bennington in check for the most part offensively. So we sat here and said, okay, it's 3-1. You're in a much more manageable of a ball game. However, it didn't happen because Bennington did what they did. They kind of slammed the door defensively, but then really did a nice job of putting up another crooked number. What was it, in the 5th inning?
In the 5th, yep.
In the 5th inning, we talked about that, similar to what Scott did, maybe not to the quantity that Scott Catholic had earlier, but did a nice job of slamming the door and then adding some more on and really deflating the balloon of Seward.
Single, walk, single, double by the top 4 orders in that lineup. You felt like Seward was doing a good job to hang in that game. And then Bennington turned on the Jets, right? Schumann set the tone with his 2nd single of the game. Spencer drew a walk. Aiden Smith smoked one back up the middle for an RBI. Then the big blast was the one from Charlie Swoboda that ended up scoring a couple of runs. But really, Nick, worse than the 2 runs that were allowed there, it was the throw by Hibbert that got all the way to the backstop, where the 2 runs that come in to score, but if you're able to keep those runners at 1st and 2nd, okay, give up a couple runs, your road back is a little bit tougher, but to compound the bad result on the smoke double by Swoboda with a bad throw that made things even easier for Bennington to tack on another run in the frame, it felt like at that time it was going to take something like a baseball miracle for Seward to come back, given how little they got out of the offense here in Game 1 of the state tournament.
You're absolutely right. It's been a good one. It was a brisk hour and 44-minute ball game here in the state baseball tournament. We'll see what the nightcap has in store. It's going to be the Ralston Rams and their 16-6 record going up against the Omaha Gross Catholic Cougars and their 16-7 mark here in the 2025 campaign. Hope you join us for that one. First pitch slated for shortly after 7 p.m. here from Tal Anderson Field. It'll be the final game of our week, of our coverage from Tal Anderson Field, because next week we stay and park ourselves at Warner Park for the entire week starting on Monday for Class A action. So we will find out here in about a little over an hour's time of who is going to play Bennington on Monday and who will play in an elimination matchup against the Seward Blue Jays on Monday. Both of those games will be taking place at Papillion La Vista South High School. So Ralston and Gross are due up here in about an hour and 10 minutes. But once again, your final score one last time from Tal Anderson Field in Game 3 of the day. The Bennington Badgers, they win it comfortably over the number 7 seed Seward Blue Jays 8-1. They get a great starting effort from Jaron Utterback. He'll be available to pitch on Wednesday. He threw 88 pitches, so he'll need 3 days rest. Brody Lighty came in and slammed the door in his 1 1/3 innings of work. So long for now from Tal Anderson Field. We'll talk to you in a little bit over an hour for Ralston and Omaha Gross Catholic right here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs?